Hi everybody, Elizabeth here with Country Peony, and welcome to episode 25 of Coffee and Crafting. Yes, we're already on episode 25. I am so excited to have you here. So Coffee and Crafting is my weekly craft show where I focus on a very simple tutorial that will hopefully inspire you to create in your own home. And I'm calling it Coffee and Crafting because I love to grab a warm cup of coffee after lunch and craft. So cheers to crafting this afternoon. I am so excited because today we are going to be making one of my most popular projects on the blog to date, and it is my dollar store Easter egg wreath. So let's get started. This Easter egg wreath I made about 5 years ago already. It's still in incredible shape. I love it so much. And it just makes me really happy, and it just showcases how simple it is to make a really chic statement using only dollar store eggs and a dollar store wreath. So for this project, you're going to need some Easter eggs, and I got these from the Dollar Tree, but I will say that I've been to the Dollar Tree at least 3 times in the last 2 weeks. And I've been scouring their website, and it doesn't look like these specific eggs are still available anymore, but don't worry because I've linked some alternatives below. I linked some from Michael's, and then Amazon also carries a very similar version of these, so you can get covered. And then you're also going to need a willow wreath, which I did get this from Dollar Tree. So for $1.25, you can find this 12-inch willow wreath. I've also linked it below. And then you're going to need a hot glue gun with some glue sticks. And for this particular wreath, I used about 48 Easter eggs, but you can use more or less depending upon your size and what style you're going after. So I'm so excited to show this to you today. I think it's just beautiful that you can take some plastic Easter eggs and really bunch them together to make a really sophisticated statement. And again, this is about 5 years old and it's held up so incredibly well. So if you're ready to get started and make this wreath with me, then come along. I'm going to put this up on display so we can enjoy it together. Well, we'll just set it right here for now. Okay, so for this particular project, I'm really excited because it showcases how simple it is to take something that is inexpensive and making it a little bit more chic. So I'm going to move my beautiful bunnies over so we can see that wreath in the view. Okay, so let's get started because even though this is a very simple process, I want to show you how to make the entire thing, and I want to get started. So the Dollar Tree version comes in these really cute egg carton. There's 6 in a pack, and I did look online, and they've got some available, just not at Dollar Tree. I linked one on Amazon that has a 6-pack. And I'm mentioning this because I recommend keeping the egg carton because I've got a really fun project that you can get your kids and your grandkids involved in. I've also linked it below. You can make this really sweet floral bouquet using egg cartons. So for this project I mentioned, for this particular wreath, I used 48 Easter eggs. But again, you just have to test it, what you think for yours. So the beauty with this project is that really your super weapon here is your hot glue. And we're going to put it on the lowest heat setting because you don't want to burn yourself and you don't want to burn the eggs themselves. And so all we're going to do is we are literally going to be hot gluing the eggs to our willow wreath, okay? And so it doesn't really matter where you get started. I like to start in the middle of the wreath. And what you're going to do is you're going to apply one here, then you're going to go down below, and then one on top. And that gives you the beautiful fullness that this wreath is. So you can see this is a pretty thin wreath frame, but it's amazing what it can do if you add some eggs to all sides. So you can see what it looks like on the back, okay? So let's get started. The only other thing to note is that to make sure to mix up your colors because you're going to want to not have the same colors all together. So I'm just going to get started, and I would love to chat with y'all. I am just applying just a layer of hot glue, and we're just going to attach it directly to the wreath. Now, the thing with this is you need to make sure that you hold your egg in place as the hot glue dries, okay? That is a secret here because otherwise gravity is going to work against you and not with you, and it's going to make the egg fall. Okay, so we got the first egg on here. I'm so excited. And now we're going to take the next egg, and you can see I'm placing the eggs kind of at an angle. This is really just a fun puzzle. As you will see, you're just placing these eggs at an angle because you're wanting to avoid that white space in between. Really, you don't want to see that wreath frame behind you. Now, if you don't feel comfortable and you think there's too much white space, you can always go in and use some fun twine like this. You can bunch up some twine together and kind of stick it in there. You can bunch up some of that beautiful green grass texture that you see at craft stores this time of the year for your Easter egg baskets. But I like the look of just the eggs, so I'm going to try really hard to make them come together. Okay, so I've got 2 eggs on here now, and so what I want to mention is they're starting to separate. So I'm just going to take one egg and I'm going to glue the inside of it to the other egg. So you can see I just took the hot glue and applied it right in the middle, and now I'm going to hold them in place so that they stay in place as they're drying. And don't worry about the hot glue with the whiskers and everything, because you will clean that up and you won't notice all of that, okay? And this is why it's important to keep it on a low heat setting, just because your eggs may start to melt if you've got the hot glue on a really high heat setting. Okay, and now we're going to do the next egg. And the way that I have it here, some of them are shaped like this, some of them are like that. It's really up to you. So this one, I'm just gonna kind of do it like that. And that will start giving it its shape and its volume. So I'm actually going to apply the hot glue directly to the wreath this time. And then I'm going to just kind of pop it up on its side. And then while it's here, I'm going to apply some glue to the inside of the 2 of them just like that. I'm going to squeeze them together, hold it in place. And what this does, as I mentioned, it gives you a really solid base. They're not only attached to the wreath frame, but they're attached to each other. And that's what allows them to stay secure like this for many, many years. And so I am excited because I plan to put these wreaths on my front door here in the studio because they're not in direct sunlight. I've got an awning. But I do not recommend putting wreaths that are made with hot glue in the direct sunlight because they will melt. Okay, so we've got our first section done. Very simple. Again, the hot glue's everywhere, but that's okay because I'm going to clean that up in a little bit. Okay, so now we're going to I think it'd be fun to kind of mix it up. Now I'm going to take the egg and I'm going to place it kind of standing upright this time. It's just really up to you and what you're feeling. And the beauty with this is these eggs are plastic, and so you can't always kind of pop them off if you don't like that placement as you put it on there. And if I do like that placement, because I do like that placement, I'm going to now glue this egg to that one and this one to that one. It's really just a matter of, it's like a fun puzzle, and you are just gluing the pieces together to make this really fun puzzle, okay? And so now that we have a lot of space here, I'm just going to add another egg up here. And I'm just going to try to make it look kind of organic and fun and beautiful without overthinking it. Do not overthink this process. It should be so much fun. All the creating I do is just a really fun process. And ultimately, I think you should just enjoy it, because if you're not enjoying it, then I don't see the point, right? And just be very careful not to burn your fingers. When I was also at Dollar Tree, I picked up these finger protectors for the hot glue gun. I haven't used them yet. I probably should. But do y'all use protectors for your fingers with your hot glue? I probably should, like I said, but I don't. Okay. I'm making a big mess with this hot glue. If you want to protect your work surface, you could always put like a baking sheet down below in case you don't want to get any hot glue on your table. But honestly, this is my crafting island, my crafting table. and so I don't mind if it gets hot glue on it. Okay, so you can see it's starting to take shape. So I'm going to do that on the other side. I'm going to apply kind of a similar technique. I'm just going to add the egg on its side to this side, and I'm also going to add the points where I'm going to attach it with the hot glue. So you can see, and now I'm just holding it in place, and it's so fun. I'd love to know if y'all are crafting for Easter already. As you can tell, I am. It's funny, I didn't think I was that into Easter crafting, but I've been looking on my website, and I've got so many Easter tutorials, and I know what it is. I ultimately love to craft for Christmas. It's my favorite. And then once the flowers come out, I'm so inspired by all of the beautiful colors that I just can't help myself, and I go a little crazy with my crafting this time of the year. And I am totally fine with that. Okay, so again, I'm just going to continue to add. I need to add some more glue. You are going to use a lot of glue with this because you want to make sure that everything is stable. Okay, and this one I'm going to turn upside down. It's really about just creating a fun movement with the eggs. And again, you are hot gluing the egg to the wreath frame and also to each other. So that really is your secret. And you're also holding them in place while they dry because you don't want them falling. One of the first wreaths that I made, I was just hot gluing and going and going and going. And all of a sudden, it was actually a lemon wreath. I use these really fun styrofoam lemons. And they just all started falling, and it was so devastating. And so that's why I recommend holding it in place. Okay? So it is slowly starting to take shape. I did mention slowly. This is a very simple project, but it isn't the fastest. But I wanted to show you that you could do this because it's beautiful and it's fun. Okay, so now I'm going to take this egg, and I'm actually going to put it on its side because it's all about movement and just variation. You really want your eye to continue to move around your wreath, and you don't want perfection. You don't want everything exactly the same. You don't want things, the colors in the exact same order. It's fun just to kind of play with it, okay? And for those who are just popping on, we are making this dollar store Easter egg wreath. I mentioned earlier that these Easter eggs, they are not available at Dollar Tree anymore. I've been looking. So if you find some, let me know at your local Dollar Tree. But I did find some options available on Michael's and Amazon, and I've linked them below if you want to check them out. So we are just hot gluing the eggs directly to the wreath frame and to each other to stabilize them. Okay? And I'm just making sure that I am keeping the colors, mixing the colors up, and just going with it. You really need to use your best judgment here as far as what colors, and again, just playing with it, and don't take it so seriously. If you're not crazy about the way that something's looking, just peel it off and start over, you know? It should be fun. You should be enjoying it. Good morning, Christy. It's so good to have you here. Thank you. I love the egg colors. Yes. So Dollar Tree, I'm surprised they don't have these anymore because every year they would sell out so quickly. But again, I've linked some on Amazon and Michael's if you want to check them out. I love pastel colors, and they obviously work so well with spring decor. So I am just adding this hot glue, and I'm holding it in place. Okay, guys? So it is slowly starting to take shape, and for most of them, we've got 3 eggs, and then 2 and 3 and 2. And I like the way that's looking, so I'm just going to kind of go with that pattern. So next here, we're going to add another egg. And again, the only thing is you are going to use a lot of hot glue. It's so good to see you, Mariana. Thank you for joining us. Us. It's so funny. I joke. I always say us because I've always got my kids with me. And so when they're not with me and I say thank you for when everything's in plural, it's funny because it's obviously just me. It's so good to have you here. I'd love to know if y'all are decorating for Easter already. As I mentioned, I am in full Easter crafting mode. Aside from Christmas, I think it's my favorite. I've got so many fun tutorials on the blog. So the secret to really keeping these eggs on here is to attaching them to the wreath and then to each other and then holding it in place, okay? And really the only rule is that you need to make sure that you keep your colors kind of sporadic. You don't want a pink right next to a pink and so forth. Christy says, I say us, meaning the other followers too. Very smart. I should have just gone with that. Thank you, Christy. Okay, so we are going to keep going. We're going to keep building on this. I'm going to open up another egg box or egg crate because I want to get a blue down here. I think that blue and that mint green are so pretty together. And I did say to keep your egg cartons, if you have egg cartons, because it's really fun to cut them up and have your children paint them or your grandchildren or even you and making really beautiful flowers. I've got a link below if you want to check out that blog post as well. It's a really fun way to use up old, paper egg cartons. So I think I'm going to get my kids to do that this weekend as a fun craft. And also to make it aesthetically pleasing, I'm just going to select like 4 colors for them to choose from. I'm just going to set it out and then they can paint and have a great time. Okay, so I think I'm going to do, it's starting to get fun now with the colors because I think I've done most of them already. So I just have to be careful that I don't have too much of them close together. So I'm just continuing to build up on this. Like I said, it's just a fun puzzle at this point. You're just creating, and there's really no right or wrong with this. Ultimately, the only goal is to have fun and to end up with a really sweet wreath that you're just proud of. And the beauty is that, truthfully, these materials don't cost very much. I think the one I linked from Michael's was a couple of bucks. The one from Amazon, because it came in a pack of 6, was like 15 bucks. So you could get most of your supplies for under like $20, which is amazing for a wreath. Okay, so we're just going to continue to go. I'm feeling really good about this. I'm so excited. And again, you just make sure that they are attaching to each other. And I'd love to know also if the weather is warming up for y'all. The weather has been gorgeous here in Texas. We obviously don't get a very hard winter anyway, but it's been feeling like spring for the past week, and I am really ready for it. I actually planted my flower seeds this morning. I am going to attempt a cut flower garden because I love flowers so much, and honestly, I spend too much money on them when I go to the store. And I use them here in the studio for styling, so why not? Okay, so I'm just continuing to go. We are just adding these eggs one next to each other. And if you'll have any questions, please let me know. I'm just talking your ear off. And I'm having a great time, and I'm so glad you joined me today. Makes me so happy to see all of y'all here. It is Mondays. I joke now because my kids, they don't want to go back to school, obviously, after a weekend. And I say Mondays are my favorite day because of coffee and crafting. So I'm just so happy to have y'all here so that I can keep doing this. Okay, so we're slowly building up. You can see most rows have 3, some have 2, and I'm really just seeing where I'm lacking. And the beauty with this is you can go back in later and you can kind of add in areas that might need an extra special touch. And so again, we're just making sure that we are adding, I need some more hot glue. I told y'all I am just going through this hot glue. Okay, so I'm just adding it directly to the wreath frame and to the nearest egg so that they can get really sturdy, and then just holding it in place as it dries. And this is the finished one that I did about 5 years ago, and I'm amazed at how well it has held up. I pull it out every single year. It's one of my favorite wreaths. And as I mentioned, it is my most popular spring blog post. For good reason. It's so cute. I love it. Okay, so we are just moving along I am just deciding, I'm really just going for it. I'm seeing what color I need next. I'm not worrying about the hot glue at this point because I'm going to clean all that up after, even though it's a real disaster back here. But that's okay because I know I'm going to have a lot of it. Great. It's looking real cute. I'm going to open up another box because I want to get all those colors in there. I need to get my pink. What is your favorite craft this time of the year? Is there something that you make every year? You decorate for eggs? Do you paint eggs? Do you decorate for Easter at all? I would love to know. Please let me know in the comments below. I think it's a lot of fun. The opportunities for Easter and then spring. Spring to me is just fresh and florals and color. And Easter, obviously, you've got your bunnies and your Easter eggs and all the beautiful, beautiful things that are associated with Easter. And so if you need any of the supplies for this particular project, all of the details are in the description below. Even the full tutorial for this wreath that I made about 5 years ago is in the description below. So if you missed any of it, don't worry. It is there for you. So we are working along, and all I'm doing is one at a time. I'm hot gluing these eggs to the wreath and to each other. That is the rule. You need to make sure you glue them to each other because that will make them super sturdy so they can last for at least 5 years, if not longer. I'm hoping longer. And I'm just making sure that I am mixing up the movement. So this one was like this. I'm going to place it right here. And I'm also mixing up the colors because we want to make sure that the biggest thing when you're making a wreath is that either you have a focal point or that your eye is continually moving around the wreath. So for some of my wreaths, I've got a big focal point. I like to focus like the bottom or one of the sides, making asymmetrical. For this particular wreath, there is no particular focal point because every single egg is essentially the same. And so your eye will just continue to move around the wreath. Okay? And so as you see, we're just slowly moving around this wreath, and I'm making sure that the colors are different throughout as well. And just playing with it. Again, it's just like a puzzle and just taking your time with it and just having fun. I recommend maybe putting on a good movie and just enjoying your afternoon or evening or morning, whenever you prefer to create. Honestly, I like creating all the time. So this is just such a fun thing to do. And this is also a really fun wreath idea. A lot of my techniques can be applied to different uses. So I made a very similar wreath when I was, for summer, I used some styrofoam lemons that I found at a craft store. And so that was really fun. And I just kind of stacked them one on top of the other like I did with this. And you could I want to do like some fabric spools. I think that could be really fun. And you could gift it to your friend who loves to sew or to quilt, or you could just keep it for yourself. Using vintage baking goods could be really cute. Just using this technique where you're just taking your time and you're hot gluing each piece one at a time. So really the possibilities are endless. The only thing just to have fun with it and put your heart into it, because that will always show. It's very obvious when I make something for a friend and it's just my heart is put into it, and I think it just means a lot. And as a kid, so I'm the youngest of 5, and I've got a twin brother, but I'm still the youngest. And I would make all of my siblings Christmas presents. Honestly, I didn't have enough money, but also because I just love to create. And I don't know if they appreciated it, but it was so much fun. And I need to get back more into that as an adult, because I think it's really sweet when someone takes their time to make something. I still encourage my children to do it, but I need to work on that. Okay, So I am just continuing to hot glue one at a time, and I'm holding the eggs in place so that they can dry. And as you go. Okay. So please let me know if y'all have any questions. This is a really fun process. Like I said, it can be a little tedious, but ultimately it's gonna create a beautiful, beautiful final project, I should say. Okay. And I'm really excited because I'm going to have two of them now because I'm going to put them, I've got double doors here at the studio and they're this beautiful blush pink. So it's going to go so well with this egg and this pink egg, and I'm going to put them on my doors. So I'm so excited to put them here in the studio, and because now I'll have a matching pair. Because that's always the thing. And that's one reason I started doing wreaths. Wreaths were one of my first projects that I've ever done, because when I was a new homeowner, when I started the blog, I was looking for wreaths for my home because I love wreaths. And I was amazed at how incredibly expensive they are when you go to the store to buy them. And so that's when I got my bug and I decided to start making my own. And I haven't stopped since. I like to specialize in like quirky, whimsical wreaths because I think they really tell a story. But ultimately, the technique is the same. You can use hot glue, you can use zip ties, you can use all kinds of fun things to make wreaths. And especially when you go to a craft store and you hit up their sales, when they're floral sales or whatever sales you have, you can get a really good wreath for inexpensive. Another place I love to buy wreaths from, especially if I'm going to do a little upcycling, is I love to go to thrift stores and get the wreath bases because those are normally very inexpensive. And they're a little worn, but you're just going to put your own spin on them anyway. And it's amazing what you can get for just like $5 that you would spend about $40 at a big box store. So, and plus you're doing good by the environment by upcycling something that was already loved. So we are about 30 minutes in, 25 minutes in, and we're about halfway through, a little bit over. So I'm just going to keep going, because I really want to show y'all the finished product and show you how fun and simple this was, because I want to inspire y'all to do it yourself. This is, it's really not that difficult, but it's so beautiful. And when you make something yourself, it means so much, I think. So I would love to know if y'all want to try this or you have tried something very similar to this. Because I just think it's really fun, and I think you would ultimately love it. So all we're doing is we're adding these Easter eggs to this willow wreath. We are hot gluing it to the wreath, and then we are hot gluing it to each other. That is the trick to get a nice, sturdy wreath that will last you for about 5 years, like the one that I have behind me. And again, we're about 30 minutes in. We're a little over halfway done, so it takes a little while, but ultimately, you're going to have a beautiful wreath that will last you for many years, and you're saving a whole bunch of money in the process. And you can even customize it to whatever colors that you want. So I was thinking, if you can't, I mentioned Dollar Tree. I cannot find these eggs anywhere at Dollar Tree anymore. I have linked some below on my through Amazon and Michaels. But if you want, you can even buy some and spray paint them and add your own speckled effect. It's very simple. All you do is you can spray paint them or use acrylic paint, and then you get some black paint, and you can either use a toothbrush, yes, a toothbrush or a paintbrush, and just kind of use your finger and get it on there as well. Okay, so we are moving right along. I'm just finding little areas where I can add the egg. And again, do not worry about the hot glue. We are making a big old mess here, but we will clean that up once we're done. So all I'm doing is it's like a fun puzzle. It's so much fun. We are just adding the pieces one at a time to this wreath. Okay. And also from Dollar Tree this year, I'd mentioned that I am going to add these to my front door. But I also found these massive eggs from Dollar Tree, and I'm trying to decide if I should paper mache them and then paint them, or if I should just paint them. And I want to make a really fun topiary for my planters, because even though I'm starting a cut flower garden, I'm not great at keeping flowers alive in my planters, so I think that could be a really fun option. And inexpensive, because I'm thinking I could spend about $10 for each planter, which would be so cheap. So stay tuned for that, because that'll be coming to the blog soon, if it works. And that's one thing too, I probably need to show more of all my crafting fails, because there's a lot of crafting fails here, which is totally fine, because you never know until you try. So, but I probably need to share more of those, because y'all might have some good suggestions for them to help me out. And so all I'm doing here is, again, I'm taking these dollar store Easter eggs. They're speckled, they're from Dollar Tree, and I am attaching them to my wreath one at a time with some glue. And I'm also attaching them to each other because I want to make sure that they stay. And the beauty with this is this is a very inexpensive project. You can customize it to whatever color scheme you want, and it's a lot of fun. It is so much fun. And just the beauty of knowing that you made something. This could also be a really great gift for a friend. Last year I let my mother borrow these. She's got a local business, and she's got a lot of traffic this time of the year in her business. And so I let her borrow them for her front doors, and it was just so sweet because people enjoy that extra special touch of cheer when you walked in. Okay, we are getting there, and thank you for being patient with me. I know this has taken a while, but I wanted to show you in real time because I think it's important to see how things come together, and that everything isn't super instant, but it's definitely achievable. And I have got a really massive mess of hot glue, but again, I will clean that up, so don't worry. And I will show you at the end kind of how I've connected all these pieces together. So if you want to stick around for that, please do. This one is not feeling as sturdy, so I'm going to apply some more hot glue to it. And that's another thing you can do at the end, is you can kind of just test out the different areas and see where you might need to add some more hot glue. Again, I'm just placing these eggs randomly. I'm putting some upright and putting some on their side. It's really just a matter of whatever you want to do and playing with it. So the beauty with these plastic eggs is that you put them out, and then you can decide to move them as I might not like that, so it still might be hard because of the hot glue, but you can kind of move them as you go, okay? Nothing is ever 100% permanent. Ultimately, the only goal is just to enjoy the process. I know I say that a lot, but I think it's so important. If you're not enjoying the process, then I think you need to step back and maybe try something else. Okay. So I'm just continuing. It's just a puzzle. I'm just taking my time, making sure that I like this. And it is really cool to think about. So most of these ingredients were about $1. And when you put them together, what a beautiful centerpiece this makes. If you don't want to use this as a wreath, then you can also make this a centerpiece on your Easter table. You can put this in the middle of the table, put some beautiful flowers, and it's just a really cool Easter table. And because you've got the eggs on all sides, they're not just on one side or on the front. And so that could be really cool too if you don't have a door that you want to put this wreath on. And I also recommend, I know a lot of people put their wreaths on their exterior doors, but I highly recommend putting them on your interior doors. I've got a wreath on almost every single door inside my farmhouse because why not? And then you can have a lot of fun with different mediums. You can use fabric, you can use ribbons, you can use things that aren't necessarily great for exterior. And it's just a lot of fun. It's just adding extra decor to your home and making it tell your story, your unique story, which is, I think, what a home is all about. Okay, we are getting there. Y'all are amazing for staying with me. I'm so excited to show this to you, the final project, which we are almost there, which is so exciting. So exciting. And this is episode 25. I'm so excited for episode 25. That seems like a milestone. I started this back in August, and this has been such a fun journey, this coffee and crafting craft show. And I'm excited to continue it. So thank you again for being here. I really appreciate it. Okay, we're just continuing to add these Easter eggs. And again, I am using some hot glue to add them to the wreath and also to each other. It's very important to attach them to each other so that they can stay in place. It's a nice and sturdy wreath so that it will last for many years to come. I mentioned this one I made about 5 years ago, and it's held up so incredibly well. So again, I am just layering them. I'm putting some upright. I'm putting some on their side. I am just kind of doing a fun puzzle effect. And that's really what it is. It's just a puzzle. And seeing with all of these wonderful whiskers, they're fabulous, aren't they? So that's just part of it, right? Part of hot glue is these whiskers. Okay. And I love the depth of it. So that's why I put the eggs on the top and the middles and the backs. That really gives it some beautiful fullness. And it's just really fun and fabulous and really cool. And you can start to kind of stack these one on top of each other. You can see they're not all laying completely flat. So like, for instance, this one's kind of sneaking up on that one, which is great to do. And we are getting there. We're almost there. I can't wait to show y'all the final product, I should say. Okay. And once in a while, I will go back and kind of make sure that each of them are secure because we want to make sure that they are stable. And if you need to hold them in place for a little bit, that's totally fine. The only thing I am making sure is that I am varying the colors because you don't want to have too much of the same color together because that will stop your eye from moving around the wreath, which is what you want. You really want your eye to continue to move around the wreath. And okay, now I'm going to put a mint green down here because I like that mint green and that blue together. I think that's a fun combination. Okay, and this hot glue gun, I've linked it below, but it is my favorite. Ultimately, it's a very strong one, but it is cordless, which if you're a crafter, you know that a cordless hot glue gun is everything. And it is, it's everything. I even use it, I do some fun event installs for my children's school, and it is epic when I'm working on those because I don't have to be next to an outlet. Okay, so we're just gonna keep going. We are almost there. I'm just making sure that I can put these last ones in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this one this way, and then I'm going to put this one right next to it so that it will it'll finish off nicely. I'm not worried about sticking an egg in there and it's not finishing off beautifully. Okay? So I'm going to take, like I said, I'm going to take this one and kind of put it on its side. And let me show you what I'm talking about. And I'm also going to attach it to both of these eggs so it nestles in there nicely. That's perfect. So you can see I did that first because I want to make sure that sometimes when I finish a wreath, it's hard to see at the end that you've got a complete circle. And so I have it in there nicely. And so now I'm just going to go around and add a couple up here and some down here. And then we'll be done. Okay. And if you missed any of this process, please don't worry because there is, in the description below, I've got the full tutorial for this exact wreath if you want to check that out on my blog. And I've also got all the supplies you'll need to make your own. Okay, we are nearing the finish line, and it is fun. It is so exciting to see this come together. And I'm just so grateful y'all have been here with me. This has been a really fun project to do. We're almost done with this, and then the next step is to clean it up a bit because we've got a lot of hot glue whiskers that are specifically behind the wreath that we need to clean up. And all I'm doing now is I'm adding the eggs to the back side, like here, and then I'm also going to add them some in the middle. But I'm making sure that when I attach the hot glue to each other and to the eggs that they stick, so I'm going to hold them in place just a little bit so gravity doesn't pull them down. And again, I'm just going to open up another egg, and we are going to almost be done here. And I'm just making sure this yellow really stands out, so I'm making sure to put another yellow here because I haven't used one of those in a while. Ultimately, you want your eye just to continue to move around, as I've said before. See, I didn't use a yellow in a while, so we just want to make sure that that eye continues to move around. Okay. And now we just wait, make sure that it's nice and secure. And I'm going to hot glue this one to this one because we want to, again, make sure that they're together. And then holding them in place. And we're almost there. I'm so excited. Okay. So I think that is good. And now we're just going to clean up all these beautiful whiskers. We're just pulling them. And I just kind of use my fingers just to grab them like so. And you can continue to clean these up. And even in the back, you can even use scissors for the back ones because that's where some of the thicker glue is sticking, if you'd like. But I wanted to show you how I connected some of these pieces to give you some inspiration when you make your own. So as you can see, this one's kind of stacked on top of this one. And then here at the beginning, some of these are more horizontal than vertical. And so it just kind of shows you how it all works together, which is so cool. So these started out as Dollar Tree Easter eggs, and I used a Dollar Tree willow wreath. So we're talking, honestly, this whole process, this is definitely less than $20, which is amazing. And so the finishing touch is you need to add a wreath hanger. And so it's just dependent upon what kind of backing I have. Since this is an open backing, you can add the wreath hanger at the beginning or the front end. If you wrap your wreath with ribbon, then I would definitely recommend putting the wreath hanger on first. But for this project, I wanted to really see where I thought the top and the bottom was going to be because it does make a difference. Sometimes the top looks prettier in a certain angle or the bottom. I think that this is a beautiful top. So I'm going to add a wreath hanger to the back of this. And for this one, I'm just going to use some simple yarn. You can also use a pipe cleaner if you have that available. So I'm going to go in my yarn cabinet right behind me. I'm going to get some, just a very pale pink. And I am going to attach it. Let's see. I'm trying to see where it was again. I think this is wait, I did have this. I know I did. Okay, right here. Yeah, this is where I want to do it. Okay, so I'm just going from the back and I'm just going to stick it in between this willow wreath. Okay, so all I did was I took the yarn and I stuck it in between the wreath and I am just going to make a tiny loop. I'm going to double knot it. Very simple, just to have a place to hang the wreath. It's as simple as that. And I'll double knot it, and then I'm going to trim it so you don't see any of that yarn ultimately. And then I'll show you another hack real quick so that the wreath isn't, moving back and forth. We are going to make sure that we have the middle of our wreath, and then I'm just going to hot glue that yarn to the wreath frame, like so. As you can see, I just hot glued it directly to the wreath, and that will keep it stable whenever you do hang it, okay? So here you have it, the cutest Easter egg wreath. Now I have a pair, and I'm so excited to hang both of these on my door here at the studio. Thank you so much for following along. If you have any questions, please reach out. And I also wanted to mention that below in the description, I've got the full blog post tutorial if you want to visit that. I've also got links for items so you can make your own this Easter season. And I just cannot wait to see your Easter egg wreaths. Again, thank you so much for following along today. I hope to see you next week on another episode of Coffee and Crafting here on Facebook at noon Central Standard Time. Until then, I hope you'll have a beautiful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, guys.